So you see, we'll look at assembly system. I actually told this class to section B yesterday. Okay, you are now in combined mode, right? Anyway, it will be a revision for them. Section A, I'm teaching this for the first time. Okay, so you see, assembly system. This is the continuation of your third unit, right? We have seen transfer lines in the first part of third unit, right? That is basically those are sequence of workstations, right? Those are kept for dedicated operations to perform one after the other, so that at the end of the line you will have either a subassembly or assembly, right? But transfer lines, they focus on processing, right? Transfer lines are meant for processing operations, like for example forming, sheet metal forming, for example extrusion, or it could be turning, milling, etc., right? All those are processing operations. But similar concept, right? You have it for the assembly. We are calling it an assembly line, right? So the second part of your third unit is basically dedicated to assembly. Okay, assembly lines, and what are the problems associated with it. For example, the problems that were in transfer lines were that you have that buffer storage, right? I mean, because of the downtimes, the line efficiency was decreased, and because of that, we had to go for buffer storage concept, right? Buffer storage was kept in between the two stages of, and each stage is having some particular workstations, right? That was about the buffer storage, and we saw different problems, how the buffer storage addition has led to the increase of efficiency and production rate, right? So similarly here, we're looking for assembly. So you see, as we know, what assembly is, the joining together of two or more separate parts to form new entity, which may be an assembly or it could be a subassembly, right? Does not have to be an assembly itself. It could be a subassembly. So like for example, automotive, you have an engine assembly, right? And this, what do you call, powertrain assembly, and even this, the chassis, right? The bottom part of the vehicle, and the top part, BIW, body in white, right? So all those are different sub-assemblies that will lead to an assembly of the complete product, that is the car, for example. So it could be an assembly or a sub-assembly. Okay, want you to know that. And you see at the bottom, I've kept an image that different components are being fed to this assembly workstation. ASBY stands for assembly, AUT for automated, right? Should I go to full screen so that you can have a look at it better? Right? So the base part will be loaded, right? The first part to come in is the base part, and this base part could be your the biggest part in the product, okay? Or it could be a critical part wherein you have provisions for other components to join, right? Like maybe holes or some other slots, etc. All those are provisions, all those provisions are there in that part. So that will be our starting incoming part, and all other parts will be attached, right, one after the other. So these are the feeders, basically feeding us the parts, the different components to attach. And AUT stands for automated, right? So at the end you will have a completed assembly. So this is basically one workstation. Okay, you could have a series of workstations. So that's what we mean by assembly, isn't it? Very simple terms. Now, what all the assembly operations, what are all the operations that will be considered as assembly? Okay, it's not just a combination of two parts, right? Combinations through what means? Is it temporary? Is it permanent? That also is another factor. So you see, all these are assembly operations. You have application of adhesive, right? That especially in your that car mirror. I mean, I'm sorry, that car glass at the front, right? The through which we view the, I mean, the front side of it, right? The front part of the uh, what do you call, road, right? So that door, oh, I'm sorry, that glass has to be glued with the help of this adhesive, right? So that and many other parts, as we'll see, I've found a video that will clarify especially the automotive assembly. So that application of sealant, for example, right? Arc welding, even welding, permanent type of assembly, brazing, caught up in applications, right? All these are prominent one being printed circuit board, isn't it? PCBs, as we know, they carry those small miniature components, transistors, and what do you call all those thermistors, etc. So those are have to be put on that circuit board, right? And then they have to be soldered. So that is also a part of assembly. Press fitting, right? These are all mechanicals. Shrink fitting, riveting and eyelet. Riveting stands for this semi-permanent type of assembly, right? Snap fitting of two parts, basically that interference fit, right? Or transition fit, for example. So that also is one amongst the assembly operation. Spot welding being the most general one, okay? In especially for automotive, we'll go for spot welds, right? For that BIW components to join. Spot welds, basically series of spots, a series of weld spots, so that we can have the attachment of the different BIW parts. Threaded fastener applications, all these are assembly operations, right? Just wanted to have an idea of what all is that we are going to assemble, what are the assembly operations. So this is for a manual assembly line, okay? But most of them you will have it in automated, but not more, because automated will have some limitations, right? If there are too many components to join, then that is one limitation for automated assembly to be used. So we'll see what are the different kinds of assembly methods we have, but these are the general operations, okay? Just wanted to have an idea. This is the type, these are the types of assembly methods you have. The first one being manual assembly, automatic assembly, and robotic assembly. These are the three methods in the industry that you will use that you'll go for assembly. You see, manual, as we know, manual workers will assemble it, right? Uh, the conveyor system, okay, the part handling system, the component feeding system basically may or may not be mechanized, may or may not be automated, but the workers are going to assemble it. They are the major what do you call they are the man in charge, you can say, right? They are responsible for assembling it, either with the help of that automated handling, that the parts will be fed to different workers, right? Through the conveyor line, the parts will come to the workers, and then they will assemble it. They'll add different components that are available with them. So that's manual assembly. As for the second and third category, you see, automatic assembly and robotic, they are mostly similar, but the reason for categorizing, having one more method as robotic assembly is because these are mostly used, okay? Although robotic assemblies are automatic, right? They are I told you robotics is a specialized branch of automation, right? So but the use of robots, as in they are very versatile, isn't it? So that leads to another category. Automatic, you have rigid automated machines, right? Static machines. So that is why we have the third category. Otherwise, they're majorly manual and automatic, you can say. Is it clear so far? Okay. You see, manual assembly, the first kind, is a production line that consists of a sequence of workstations, right? As I told you, there will be workstations, series of workstations wherein workers will be allocated. At each workstation, products are assembled by human workers as they move along the line. So the products are moving along the line, and the workers, okay, they'll sit at that workstation. The parts will be coming. For example, the base part to the first worker, it will come. He'll add his component available with him, right? Either it is an what do you call welding operation or riveting operation, any other operation. He'll add the component, okay, he'll join them, and then that line will move on to the second worker. He will add his own component. So this is how that continues, okay? The products are being moved along the line. Each station portion of the total work is performed on each unit, right? So we have basically a total what do you call a total of 10 components to perform, right? So 10 elements, 10 tasks have to be done. So the total task is being divided into 10 tasks now. each component, addition of each component taken as one task, for example. So basically, some portion of total work is performed at each workstation, right? The common practice is to launch base parts onto the beginning of the line at regular intervals, isn't it? So as we had seen in that example, that figure, that the base part was coming in, it was launched into that line, assembly line, and then at regular intervals you have the addition of different components. That's what happens mostly. Now you see the products made on an assembly line, just so that we can have an idea. This is for manual assembly, right? uh, Audio equipment, automobiles, yes, this is we'll see a video, because even though we have now automated workstations, but the flexibility that we have, that humans have, to identify different problems, to access different locations, right? Accessibility and those special skills which are required for that automobiles, right? To either to what do you call, apply some sealants, or attach it, right? Alignment, all these are critical aspects, right? Alignment, adjustment, fine tuning, etc. So in automobile productions, they are heavily dominant by human workers. Okay, humans are dominating still in the assembly, if not for processing, at least for assembly. You have this manual type of assembly methods. All other examples you see, personal computers, right from consumer appliances you have, right? Luggage, lamps, furniture, and we already saw for the what do you call, industrial case, automobiles and trucks, light and heavy, both, washing machines. All these are examples of products that are generally made on a manual assembly line. Okay. Now coming to automated assembly, you see, we had seen this diagram earlier, isn't it? When we were discussing about what was it? Yes, the configurations in the transfer lines. So basically, you have this kind here in assembly. So basically, you have workstations. You were performing processing earlier. Now you're performing assembly. That's all. So just as you had workers there, right? In the previous example, if you want to compare, you had workers doing it. Now you are having workstations, right? Which are programmed to perform the assembly operation. Each workstation dedicated for a particular task, right? So, and we'll see one problem that will get you an idea of what do you mean by this work elements, right? I told you total task is divided into subtasks. So that basically you have those done at different workstations. So the parts come in and they go through all these. Each machine adds its own component. Each workstation adds its own component, or joins it, for example, and then the completed assemblies are, they leave from here. So as obvious, they automated assembly uses mechanized and automated devices, right, to perform the various functions in an assembly line or cell also we can call, if it is dedicated for a particular task, right? You have departments made, right? So for a particular thing to do, for example, for the engine, I'm sorry, for the lightning system, right? For the instrument panel that we see, that near the steering, right, where you have all these HVAC slots and all the storage racks, etc. The instrument panel. I hope I'm clear. What I'm trying to say is clear to you. The instrument panel that is there at the front side, right, where the steering is also placed, right? So that, you see, that has a lot of wiring, isn't it? For the audio system, for the steering, right? For what all do you have? Yes, the HVAC, etc. So those wiring system, they could be done in an assembly cell, right? You have a dedicated cell for it, like all the connections, etc. would be done there. So that also, as already discussed, sequence of automated operations to combine multiple components into a single entity, which can be a final product or a sub-assembly, right? Automated assembly should be clear. Is there a doubt? Okay. You see, when should you be considering the automated assembly? The following, are the conditions to look for. If there is a high product demand, we have discussed this, isn't it? When we were discussing, I believe, yes, rigid automation, we discussed it. So this is more, automated assembly is more of a kind of rigid automation, right? Where there is not much change in the equipment configuration. So that's why when you have high product demand, you will go for rigid automation. So in even for automated assembly, when there is high product demand, you should go for automated assembly. Like when there is yes, the stable product design, and the product design is stable, it is not changing, then you will go for rigid automation, right? So mostly all the points which are applicable to rigid automation will apply here. Assembly consists of a limited number of components. Yes, as per statistics, mostly a dozen components. Okay, so if there are more components, then it'll be difficult to design that workstation, right? Cost would increase and the complicacy would also increase. So if there are more than a dozen components, then we'll go for manual or robotic, maybe, as the case is. And the third and the last one is product design for automated assembly. So basically design for assembly concepts, right? Wherein you are considering the uh, different aspects of the product. When you're designing it, you are not only considering the strength requirements and the manufacturing requirements, the manufacturing, what do you call, manufacturability, but also the assembly. Is it easy to assemble? Will it be easy to assemble? So the features will be manipulated, like you will change some part of it, okay, so that it is easier for it to assemble. So if the product is being made based on if you've decided that the product and yes, if the product has succeeded in the market, the demand is high, therefore you're going for automated assembly, right? So then your product design, you'll make some changes in the product so that it is easier to assemble, right? So that's how it goes. You decide you are going for automated assembly, and then you change the product features so that it is easier to assemble it on an automated assembly machine. Clear, right? Now you see assembly operations. This is for automated assembly systems, right? So automatic dispensing of adhesive. This one is very common use. That these automated assembly systems are used for automatic dispensing of adhesive. That the worker will take that part which is to be applied adhesive, right? The part to which the adhesive is to be applied, he will take that part and then he will take it to the dispensing machine, automatic dispensing machine, and then that will release the adhesive. So the worker is responsible for getting it all the way to the outer corners or wherever it is required. And even if you install robots, etc., then that is also possible. And insertion of components, electronic assembly, right? Yes, this is this electronic assembly, the printed circuit boards, right? Those are mostly done with automated assembly systems. Riveting, screw fastening, snap fitting, spot welding. This is more uh, common in the industry. As I was mentioning earlier, that automated assembly systems are being used. Automatic robots are being used, okay, for spot welding. So you can count in robotic assembly method also here, okay. Some applications, some operations are also performed on robotic assembly systems. As I mentioned, that both the categories are somewhat similar. These are products made on automated assembly lines. You see printed circuit boards, those are quite common, and electrical plugs and sockets, ball bearings, mechanical pens and pencils, gearboxes, locks also. So these are the products being made on automated assembly lines. Okay. Now you see robotic assembly, a robot will be used that at the end you will have that grippers, or it will be designed so that it can handle those products to assemble. Production volume is higher than that of a manual assembly system, but lower than that of an automatic assembly system. So you see, manual assembly system, you will have some sort of lesser production volume, right? But automatic assembly, you have more because you have designed it for that particular purpose. So that's a specialized equipment, right? So it will have more production, but this robotic assembly is it is in between, basically like flexible automation, right? Mid volume, mid variety you had in flexible automation. Here also similar, that the production volume is higher than manual but less than the automatic one, because the automated assembly systems are fixed automated and robotic assembly are flexible kind of automation. All right, these are common forms of robotic assemblies. You have that one arm robo operating at a single workstation that includes parts, feeders, magazine, etc. Basically one arm, right? Only single workstation. He's responsible for uh, assembling it. Other is two robotic arms. You see, they are basically welding it. So PLC is used to simultaneously control and synchronize the motion of the two arms, referred as a robotic assembly cell and similar to FMS cell. So you see, they are responsible. Just so that we can do it at one workstation, we have discussed the strategy of combined operations, right? So this one is similar, that two robots are doing simultaneous operations, right? That was the strategy. So, but there has to be coordination between the two, isn't it? So that PLC is responsible for maintaining that, I mean, avoiding those collisions, so that they have the coordination. Uh, if it is performing there, that this robo will be performing here, right? So they'll avoid collision with the help of the PLC programming, etc. Okay. Multi-station robotic assembly system. So multiple robots, just as you had two, you have multiple here. You see, these are very common in the industry, especially automotive production. They are right here, I believe they are welding it, spot welding it. Okay. Even for spray painting also, these robots are used. So capable of performing several assembly operations simultaneously, isn't it? So one robot will be spot welding here, other may be welding some other component, like that. So can perform different assembly operations at each station, right? And high flexibility and adaptability to design changes. Yes. You see, if there are different product versions, right? Each product will have different versions. For example, cars, different models of the same car, right? Basic model, some luxurious model, etc. So you have different categories. So each one will have different requirements. Especially for luxurious cars, you have different. Uh, you have a lot of customization when it comes to Ferrari and Lamborghini, etc. A lot of customization is involved. So different components are to be installed, right? The structure may or may not change a lot, but the features will change. So if a certain feature is to be installed, then that provision has to be there, and therefore this component would change. Is the robo able to handle it? Yes, because we are using what? Robots, right? They are flexible to accommodate changes. So if there are a lot of versions, if there are a lot of customization involved, then these are very useful, right? High flexibility and adaptability to the design changes in the product. They can cope up with that. So is it clear so far? Now you see, selection of assembly method. What are the factors to select an assembly method? Of the three, the first one being cost of assembly, right? What is the cost of your assembly? Uh, because the cost is actually related to the production volume, right? But you can say they are kind of related to each other. If the cost is quite high, right? If you want to make it less and you have more production rate to achieve, then you can go for automated one, right? So these factor, that cost factor is also there. Annual production volume, what is the production rate that you are trying to achieve? If it is less, you'll go for manual. If it is more, then you have to go for either automatic or robotic kind of method. Number of individual components to be assembled in a product, right? Different components, how many number of components you have, number of different versions, as I was mentioning, right? Different versions require flexibility, so you have to consider that factor. Availability of labor, if the labor is not available, then you have to go for automated, because one of the reasons that was specified for in reasons of automation was this, right? Labor shortages. So in countries where there are labor shortages, then they'll go for this kind of method, like automated method, right? The second and third category, automated and robotic. Payback period, the returns on investment. So this is also another factor to select. You see comparison of the assembly methods. So among the three methods, you see, if you compare, manual assembly requires the least capital investment, followed by the two, isn't it? Because not many workstations or what do you call it? Higher initial investment is not required in manual assembly. The workers, you can pay them, right? And as per that daily wage, you'll have to manage the expenses. So but here on the other side, you have automated workstations. Those are having that capital investment, right? Higher capital investment. So that is one comparison. Another thing, multi-station robotic system compares to automatic system with special purpose machines, requires more capital investment, right? Those special purpose machines, you have to design them. The proposal has to be given based on the product. So that requires a lot of design features to be installed in that machine or equipment. So that is why uh, it requires higher capital investment. Again, multi-station robotic system, right? Sophisticated PLCs have also to be installed, and several other auxiliary equipments, etc. Assembly cost per product is constant for manual assembly, right? So as for manual assembly, uh, you will decide based on, I mean, there are not many factors to look at, right? The workstations, etc. Downtimes, those are quite less. So that is why that is there. And other thing, assembly cost per product decreases linearly with increasing production volume for automatic assembly using special purpose machines. As I was mentioning in the first unit, that if you are investing more higher initial investment for some particular workstation, then that will lead to higher production rate and therefore more number of products. So that initial cost is distributed, right? Therefore you are now getting lesser unit cost. Every other product that is being manufactured, it will carry that initial investment, right? It will be distributed as we had discussed. So that is why it decreases, the cost decreases with increasing production volume when it comes to automated assembly method. Okay. Other thing is, in case of robotic assembly, the assembly cost per product decreases, right? With increasing production volume, but becomes less economical. So there is some threshold, right? That after this production volume, uh, you will have uh, the assembly cost decreasing, increasing actually after that point, right?